I'm so excited to be here. I mean, it's so nice to talk. Yeah, sure thing, sure thing. Just to mention that people are not going to think that I have been like very intentional about this. To me, it just happened. Right now, 70% of my clients either are launching AI products or AI featured. So I literally had to learn it on a go. So everything that we are talking today is learning by doing. The industry is so new, it's evolving so fast. So let's just exchange best practices. Well, definitely. And you know what? For every trend, there is also an anti trend. So I'm just developing this weird thesis that the last frontier, like humans against AI, is us forming relationships, being nice to each other. So let's be nice to people. Cool. Maybe just like to revamp this a little bit. So I would like to start with why, like Simon Sinek. So first thing that we have to realize and always consider is that AI actually has real usage costs, right? Unless you're an AI model, and we all know where the money is. But if you are an application, your pricing needs to be adjusted in a way to compensate for usage costs, right? It's not like us doing some stuff on servers, which is almost for free. So we have to be extremely careful that we do the pricing correctly. The second thing is more connected with, if you were AI last year, people just like, wow, it's AI. But right now, that's no longer the case. And we have to be very, very, very better in communicating what is the value added that we are portraying. So being AI will not magically get us a lot of customers. We need to double down on positioning work. So these are just like the main traits that I'm seeing in my life of work. But other than that, I mean, in the industry as it is right now, it's super important to do the fundamentals right. And this is the same playbook as we are using with any SaaS company whatsoever. So it's building a sustainable business model as soon as possible and delivering the real value added. I know it sounds simple, but as I am observing all the newcomers down in the industry, I mean, just the other day, I saw a tool that was like doing mock ups or like really funny things from people's LinkedIn profiles to literally insult them. I mean, I was genuinely concerned for humanity where we are going. I mean, it's funny to some people, but I mean, this is not a sustainable business. It cannot. So unless you are doing like this for fun as a side project or something like that, we have to make sure that we are building sustainable businesses here, because the venture capital is being a little bit more selective in what to invest, and also the customers, right? There are so many new e-commerce to the industries, and we have to make sure that we are doing the core fundamentals of the business right. What are we doing here? Mhm. Okay, so by now every company needs an AI strategy. That's for certain because like you can compete on productivity, on boosting productivity and operational efficiency. And for that, I mean, you are the expert. I'm not the expert. But the thing is that we can also create added value, new added value that was not even possible before, right? So either this, that, or ideally a mixture of both is the reality that we live in. So, how I see companies utilizing AI, I mean, Zoom pricing page is really funny. I don't know when you guys are listening to this podcast, but like there is this like first package without AI, and then like all the other packages have AI assisted something, right? So it really unlocks new possibilities. And from us, like being decision makers who are thinking how AI is changing our lives and businesses, there is also this component of human ethics, right? And how do you communicate this to your folks? How are you making your team like AI proof, literally, right? Had to had the conversation with the designers and just like my content creative folks for videos or something like that. Guys, you need to defend your place, but not like your place with me. But in a midterm, you will have to do something radically different, something radically better than AI. This is how you should differentiate if you are in this type of services. So it's not like humans against the AI things. It's just like we have to somehow live together. Mhm. Love it. Mhm. Yeah. Based on my line of work, I recognize these three, or maybe let's say four. In my work, I have recognized these four core principles what makes go to market for AI products radically different than why we are supposed to do always in go to market. First one is just like your work in personas department, right? When it comes to ICP, I mean, the majority of AI stuff, especially the applications, are so easy to launch that I don't want my team to over complicate and just like think who could be this target audience. We just blow stuff up and reverse engineer what actually works. The second thing is regarding positioning. As we addressed that people will not magically buy it just because it's AI, these days are over, we have to make sure that we can communicate 10x value added. Like, what is your promise to the customer? Will you increase your, I don't know, LinkedIn post writing efficiency for 90% or something like that? You have to make this super tangible. So it will not be, oh, cool gimmick. This is a presentation that it makes, but I won't even use it because I know how to do this better, right? We need to make sure that we are clear in communicating the promise and that we can also deliver on this promise. The third one is just like when it comes to pricing. Pricing has to have, in addition to covering its usage cost, right? Because AI is a little bit of product led per se in most cases with simple applications. And people will have to take it for a spin before they will engage in your conversion panels. So account for that in user acquisition costs. Account that you will have the real usage cost when you are doing your projections, how many users are do you need and how much do you want to invest in marketing and sales later. But I have like two very simple tests like litmus tests, how to say, sanity checks when it comes to AI pricing. The first one is, where do we sit in the competition, right? Because competition, in terms of competitive alternatives, we can compete against human services. That's one part of the spectrum, or as we know, doing nothing or not changing a thing, which is $0. And we have to be very realistic in terms of added value that we can deliver. Where do we sit in this arena in relations with our directs as well as indirect competitors? And the second rule of thumb that I love to use when we are doing pricing is just like, okay, so potentially let's use the example of LinkedIn post writing tool, whatever, right? If you outsource this as a service, it would cost you like from $500 to $5,000 per month. I'm just like, this is a huge range, but you know what I mean. but if you would do it yourself, and you would assume that your hour has, let's say, $150 opportunity cost, and if you post 4 times a week on LinkedIn, and in average it takes you 30 minutes to write this post, it means that you literally have the investment of 600 something dollars in your LinkedIn post generation journey if you are doing it yourself, right? So that's an opportunity cost. As we understand this value, aka the anchor here is our opportunity cost of doing it ourselves, we can then assume that we can capture 10 to, let's say, up to 30, but 30 is an extreme case, so 10 to 20% of this added value when we are doing pricing for this type of tools. That means that hypothetically we could be charging, let's say, up to $100 per month in order to do the pricing for this one, if it would really work comparably well to us doing the work itself. So this is just like this healthy wiggle room. So the max and the min, how could we be charging? And it gets super easy. And I'm not a pricing expert, but I'm a little bit obsessed with the subject. So do you have any other insights of pricing? Because this is interesting. Mhm. Yeah. And you don't have the feedback. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And that would be a metrics, but often we don't have it, right? Love. Comparative alternatives. Well, this is ideal, and this is just like holy grail of pricing, value is pricing. But oftentimes, even with simple tools such as email marketing tools or like CRMs, you don't have the feedback loop. So you cannot like really measure the amount of revenue that you created. And you can do this like maybe anecdotally, and like you work with Microsoft, so you know what big data is. I usually have to do it anecdotally from just like reverse engineering testimonials and user reviews, or if somebody is like kind enough to participate in a case study with me. Case study is another thing that we should totally talk about. But yeah, I mean, we try the best we can, right? And if you don't have the insight of how this value for the end user is being measured, we can still at least create a proxy. But think about the value is the point of this. Mhm. 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 Especially if you're one. Mhm. Mhm. Congratulations. Yeah, but then we can talk about AI agents, for example, and the idea of it being self learning. I mean, it's really important what you said, especially for everybody who is making application on top of like either OpenAI or Anthropic or whatever your AI model of choice is. First, it will hit you in terms of pricing, right? So you can never like really lock the price of usage. It can change, and that like exposes you to some risk. And the other thing, what you just mentioned, it is not like really defensible compatibility, right? You have new entrants in the industry, and if you don't build some sort of proprietary IP, like self-learning mechanisms, AI agents, if you don't train your data to do much better than for that specific use case than generic implementations, then it's not really a sustainable business. I mean, it can be cool for a year or two, but that's pretty much it. Some users will be too lazy to change it. But I would like to build a business on top of this assumption. Mhm. Mhm. Cool. 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 I will have to anonymize them, unfortunately, because clients, NDAs. But I will share one for product-led growth example, which is like supremely simple, and one for more like enterprise advanced stuff. That would be amazing. And we will touch upon the fourth principle, why I think it's like very important for go-to-market when it comes to AI products, which is when it comes to acquisition and sales motions, just don't overthink it too much. Try to save yourself some money, because you can do a lot with very little if you nail this. And when you're starting out, really, how much money can you just spray and hope for the best? So let's be cost effective. Cool. When it came to, just like, I will use Post Rewriter. That's a LinkedIn tool that I have permission to talk about, because I have permission from the founder. So how we got our first 1000 users and 100 clients, it was literally organically. It was done on zero budget. So what we did, we posted to a couple of Facebook groups. Yeah, Facebook groups that were relevant for our audience. We were, of course, like actively engaging there before. It was not us like spamming, "Yeah, here's a it," but it was a nice socially engineered project. The second thing that we did was just like try to implement it in our content stream, because if you are not eating your dog food, then how can you send other people to it, right? So we were using it, and we were AKA building in public. The third mechanism was just like outreach, and it started with warm outreach. Tell Stefan that this exists, that you have a new product, just send it around. I think you sent me one agent that you did, right? Well, this is called warm outreach. Tell people you did something. And after we nailed the messaging on the first one, and we saw that there is a good positive traction, that people are already recommending it to other people, that there is this natural word of mouth going on, we scale it a little bit with a cold outreach, as well as we understood that our persona is very specific, and I don't want to go into much more details, but you know what I mean. I mean, it was done on zero budget, and it was just like this reverse engineering projects from knowing what your target audience is, where do they hang out, I mean, where they are getting ideas for all these amazing tools, and then being like really there for them, going on calls with them, just like making sure that they have a good user experience, fixing bugs for them if it comes to that. So it was not really complicated. If you want to make it even less complicated, it's possible as well. One of the health app builders, you know, symptom checkers that I kind of mentored for one acceleration program, they spent 200 bucks on Google Ads, and they literally got 500 users, out of which like weekly active user after like 3 weeks was 100, and supreme feedback on the product and global user base. So whenever like people are asking me, yeah, it's so difficult to get users or something like that, sorry, if you have like a really good product and you can communicate the value, why wouldn't people take it for a free spin? I mean, have confidence, do stuff that don't scale if you have to, and just like make sure that you are learning and elaborating all the time. Maybe your first pitch will suck, but after you will do it 100 times, you will get better. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. And a tip for like some of the listeners that might be Facebook groups, what? It's 2024. I mean, you do a simple test. You ask your target persona, target audience 4 questions. Where do you get information which is relevant for your line of work? Like ideas for new tools is kind of a common nominator of that. First, which influencers do you follow? Second, what are the communities that you find trustworthy? Three, are there some events that you like to attend? And four, is there a secret in your industry that I should know about? Maybe skip four. Maybe skip four. But right. Mhm, mhm, mhm. So that's for products. Like, these are for companies that have packages below 100 euros, 50. Maybe. So let's go and discuss more complex case, which is, yeah, where the conversation naturally leads. Okay, so I was working on a very, very, very complex knowledge graph AI agent that is intended to help supply chain companies and just like companies that have issues with traceability, right? So it can be either like finance industry for transactions, it can be just like transportation and logistics. So where do you really need a single source of truth, and you have a network of, let's say, knowledge graphs and knowledge creators that need to form a consensus. How we did it was not that complicated either. So from business development on the events, we got one, let's say, champion customer who was very eager to try out this concept. Early adopter, believer in a technology, complete evangelist. We worked closely with him to develop a use case first, right? The architecture, and later on a working prototype for his use case, right? It was in logistics. After we saw it working and we measured the results, we constructed a case study and then we presented it with that specific client on webinars, on industry events, and we had a little bit of PR going on, right? So it was literally selling with a case study. So you helped one person. Now, how can we find 5 or 10 different people that need the same thing? I mean, I know it sounds super simplistic, but you know how it is. When you are so smart, sometimes people start overthinking. So I'm here to go back to the basics. Yeah, high IQ problem. Yes, overanalyzing things. Yeah, no. Maybe you can just like tell them for features, right? Because you have this extensive organization experience for launching new features. So I would be interested in learning from you how to decide like whether this AI feature should be a part of the existing package or there is something new to monetize. This is where I can grab your brains a little. Mhm. Cloud. Yeah. Love it. No, this is amazing. This is amazing. And to took it like to an even larger extreme, do you remember what Posthook did recently? So they decreased the price for their premium package, and literally their official communication was due to automations and I think AI, not sure, but yeah, we just want to transfer some of the operational savings to our clients. Thank you for being with us. Rock on. I mean, I've seen gazillion price increase emails in my life. People are so petrified to send them out. But then comes post hoc and yeah, let's decrease the price. And I think it's so genius move because as you mentioned, people are realizing this, right? People are maturing in terms of their knowledge of AI and there are no competitors out there. So to really bulletproof your future, you need an AI strategy which is broader than, yeah, let's add AI, ChatGPT hook to whatever we're doing now and hope for the best. Why? Why? This is Oh, definitely. That always happens in any hype, also with IoT, blockchain, anything. I mean, it's a survival of mechanism. Nice. It's definitely not the end game, right? But people are still selling hours of work, so maybe we will live in the era of hybrids for a little bit. But I seriously hope that the next time we talk, your agent and my agent could just record this podcast. Mhm, mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So I use it to force my teams to get rid of their excuses for positioning and developing USPs. I know, guys. I mean, it's so awkward to do these exercises to develop your UVP, unique value proposition, unique selling proposition. So my go-to hack for all my technical teams right now is no problem. We will copy your competitor's webpage, put it to Claude, and now after you do it 3 times and copy like whatever you have in mind, do tell it to develop like USPs for you and elaborate on this one, okay? And I do the same thing for competitor research and just like whatever I know they will not do. So yeah, whenever something is difficult or like less psychologically comfortable to do, we ask Claude. no problem. We'll create it because I just think it's so important to have these use cases defined. Because if you're there, like staring at a black window, what my favorite question is like, can you draw me an Australian Shepherd in a Christmas outfit? I mean, we can be smarter about this. Pleasure. Hey, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for listening, guys. And I just hope that from listening to this show, that you will at least use one tactic that we will talk about, that we talked about today, action. Definitely. Facebook groups. Facebook groups.